I'm going live. I am live. I'm here. I'm on. And I've got to do a couple of things to kind of get this up and running. Because hello, by the way, I'm still getting used to this YouTube format. So I don't even know whether it's something that I will be able to continue. But hi, hello, how are you? I've got my lunch today. And so I assume we're firing on all cylinders. I've got my microphone here, so can you let me know if you can hear me first of all? That would be good. Well, I just choke on my hastily cooked scrambled egg. Here we go. We got Heather. Hi, Heather. Geezer McVie was waiting with bated breath. Geezer was on before I was live, so that's interesting that you can be on and waiting with bated breath before I actually go live. I'm still learning how to do this YouTube business. It's funny because a few weeks ago I hadn't done a Twitter live for years, and so that was all very new and a bit daunting, to be honest, because there are people who do this sort of thing professionally, as in live streams, and I don't. I do something different. And over the weeks, if you've been following this, you'll know that I've relaxed so much that now I just eat my lunch while I'm talking to you. Because why not? Hey, David. Timberlina's on. Anna Maria Jimenez says, useless for us to wave back. I would imagine there's a wave emoji you can send. Sound is good. Okay, brilliant. Loud and clear and in sync. Yeah, that because basically the reason I'm trying out this YouTube thing instead of Twitter is just because I think the speed of my internet connection, but also the fact I was using a phone, meant that the sounds and the video were out of sync. And that meant when I was playing music and singing along, it was completely useless to do any kind of lip syncing. So hi, it's very rude of me to eat, isn't it? But boys got to eat. What mic am I using? I'm using a USB Shure mic. It's the one I use to voice the program actually. And like I said the other day, now I'm on a laptop. I can't move this camera around as much, but I'll show you. Like I said the other day, what I really should have is a pop shield on here, a bit of fabric that goes over the top, big thick bit of foam, so that it doesn't do this. I'll show you what happens when you go too close to a cardioid mic. See, just even a gentle P against the microphone like that, just will probably have blown your ears. So, how was your weekend? And more importantly, yeah, there you go. It happened. Haircut happened. No blood was spilt. Relationship still intact. So let me know what you think. It was the longest haircut I've had because this is photographer indoors who may or may not be standing in the kitchen listening to this at the moment. Took her time, which was much appreciated. Going down from a grade 11 to a grade 10, grade 9. Eventually, we went down to, what do we think this is on the side? 2, 1.5 now? 2. Usually, I mean,
only 2 at the back, 3 at the front.
2 at the back, 3 at the front, and who knows on the sides. But anyway, we sat in the garden for an hour or so, and the shaking stopped after a while. And by that time, I was calm. I was resigned to the fact that I was having this haircut, and they, absolutely trusted you. But there were some nerves involved, and you can also see that I've decided to experiment with by dyeing my hair this new experimental grey color. But I will be returning to my normal color of suspiciously brown as soon as I can get to a hairdresser. Lego hair, she calls it. How very dare you? No, Rayleigh didn't help, David. So because that I think that would have been too much. So here we got on. We got Heather. We got GSWD 1693, which sounds like something you used to squirt into a lock if it squeaks. You don't like this format though, as I still have to use my phone. Yeah. So after a few days of doing this on YouTube, maybe I'll go back to Twitter. I don't know. I'm just trying it out at the moment. I figure that if you hold your phone in landscape format, you should see this whole picture. And so it's just a different way of framing. Lip sync fine using Bluetooth 5 headphones. Well, that's great. I mean, if the lip sync works with your Bluetooth headphones, that's brilliant. Although any lag you now experience will be to do with your headphones and not me. When are you going to speak to your neighbor? Says Max. What was that about? Was I going to speak to my neighbor? I mean, I've never met her next door, to be honest. She's very, very old. I mentioned her a few weeks ago in the context of contact tracing apps. If in theory we both had a contact tracing app and she's the other side of that wall, the app would think that we're being in constant contact, which of course we haven't. So there was a kind of problem I had with the idea of contact tracing apps to do with that. But what have we got here? Andrew saying it's lovely quality. You're welcome. Are you talking about my lunch, which is basically just a load of scrambled eggs, cheese, and some old vegetables that we had left over in the lunch? Um, what else have I been doing? Did you have a VE Day party? We kind of had an approximation of a VE Day party here, where we all kind of sat on our lawns and driveways and kept 2 meters away from everyone. It's a bit weird. I mean, for a start, personally, I'm not quite sure what we were celebrating. I know what VE stands for, but some of the victory speeches include talking about victory over Germany and Japan and stuff like that. And I know it's important to remember the horrors of war, but I love those countries now. So it did make me wonder what happened in Germany on Friday. Um, I don't know. Does Germany kind of commemorate VE Day in any way? I actually don't know. I tell you what, though, because I love Germany. If you've ever been to Germany, if you've been to Berlin, especially, the way that they have handled history and the 20th century and the Second World War specifically is phenomenal. I mean, Berlin's my favorite city in the world. It's not a city; it's a story of the 20th century, really, and you can see it in the buildings of various different styles. You know, they're the old kind of communist imposing buildings still there in parts of Berlin, and there are the new modern ones. And then there's the kind of ghost of the wall, as I like to call it, around Potsdamer Platz. There are buildings that are cut at funny angles, really strange shaped buildings. You know, you don't usually get buildings that are that kind of shape, and I believe that's to kind of honor where the wall was and remember the wall. Um, and there's also just plaques everywhere talking about what happened in the Second World War. And I just think it's phenomenal. I know a lot of governments and a lot of countries would try and sweep under the carpet history if you were involved in the bad side of history. But Germany hasn't. Germany has put it up for all to see. This is what happened. These are how many people died. Here's a memorial to the Romani population. Here's the Jewish memorial. There's probably an Italian memorial and everything like that, and it's all there, and it is within walking distance of the Reichstag. I think it is the government building, and I just think if you work in government in Germany, you will walk past these things every day, so they're not hiding from it at all. And I think it's much less let us forget and much more lest we forget. So it's absolutely phenomenal. How do they get onto that? I don't know. Oh yeah, VE Day. I wonder how VE Day is kind of commemorated um, in Germany. So anyway, we had a VE Day kind of party here. We kind of sat on the road and on our lawns, just chatting, and it was all right. I've heard stories from other parts of neighbours having a 2 meter long plank that they put cookies on, and then they offer them to their next door neighbour so they can remain 2 meters away from the other person while giving them a cookie that they've just touched with their hands, and the other person is then going to touch with their hands and then put into their mouth. I'm not. I don't quite understand that because that's isn't that what we're trying to avoid is contact. I don't know. Anyway, I understand. There's loads of comments going up. Thank you for being here, by the way. Thank you for continuing to put up with this waffle. I can see some of you saying you prefer Periscope, which is fair enough. A a lot of people said they preferred this YouTube format, but we'll see. We'll see. I might go back to it, and obviously, I want to hit as many people as possible. And I can see on both of them, I'm not really doing that, am I? um, there you go. Anna Maria is saying Germany did. They commemorated the fact that they were freed from Nazism. Of course, because it's not about Germany, it's about Nazism, is it? What do we do? Yeah, so I've had the haircut. We've done the VE Day party. Um, David says a 2 meter long plank. It's called a Johnson. I don't know what you mean. And Max is mentioning a movie called The Plank. I remember, was that a 1970s or 80s silent movie, if you like, where there's no talking and it's literally a comedy about moving a plank around? And it's great slapstick. I remember growing up with that movie. If that's the one you're talking about, I'm sure there was another one of those called Rhubarb, and it's another kind of silent-ish comedy one-off where the only words spoken by all the characters is rhubarb. So they're literally saying rhubarb, 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 and the comedy is in the visuals and the slapstick. I remember that. Sound of egg is louder, so it shows the clarity. Oh dear, sorry. Yeah, that's a good point. Good quality microphone means you can hear me chamming more. I don't know whether we've got the I haven't got the stars of last week's show here. I was going to show you the ducks as well. They weren't difficult to spot. I hit some ducks. I put some ducks in the kind of foreground of the show last week. I've got to work out what to put in the show this week. I haven't decided yet. I was very happy with the show at the weekend, actually. As you know, if you've been following this nonsense, it's really difficult to put together this new style of show and make it work. There's me and Lara talking remotely. We have earpieces and we can see each other, but it still comes down to the editor to have to make the decision over what parts of what our waffle to cut together and to make it sound like a natural conversation. And every so often, just every so often, we have to refilm bits, and once or twice they've been refilmed separately from each other and then inserted. So the question is, can you spot which ones those are, or does it all look completely nonsense? Eric Sykes, that makes sense. Eric Sykes was in The Plank, I think. Now, David is saying, if you're live streaming YouTube from your laptop, can you simul live stream Periscope from your mobile? Do you know, I did think about it. But I think one of the problems that I was having on Periscope and Twitter was the speed of my internet connection. So if I live stream on both my mobile and my laptop on two separate platforms at the same time, I don't think that's going to go very well. I think I'm just going to completely hammer my internet connection and nothing's going to work well. Can we get a supercut of you staring into the camera and nodding earnestly? There is a 45-minute recording of me staring into the camera and nodding earnestly, because whenever we record these interviews, and I'll tell you about the interview I'm doing this afternoon in a minute, but whenever, there's a bit of cheese stuck there, whenever Lara and I are talking, we both record our separate camera feeds, and then they're synchronized up later. So every time I'm listening to either her or an interviewee, there's literally a shot of me going like this, and there's no sound on the soundtrack because I'm hearing the interviewee through my earpiece, so nothing's recorded on the camera. So I'm literally just nodding. So in theory, we could just substitute that for any interview that's done in the future, and I don't even have to turn up. Although that's a joke because that did happen in the past, and it used to happen across the industry. But of course, being the BBC, it's the BBC that admitted it, got into trouble, and then we all had to do a course on how we had to turn up for interviews rather than just have our noddings inserted afterwards, which I've never done, but was done. Look it up. Um, and it raised an interesting question over when is it artifice and when is it deception? When are you actively deceiving the audience and when are you just doing things which help the program along and make it feel better, make the audience feel more comfortable? And because there are many televisual tricks that we use when we're making the program, which you think, well, hang on, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. I thought I was getting a genuine full recording of what was going on, but actually, that's often impossible, and you have to um, drop things in later and move things around. So pretty much any interview that you ever see is probably shown out of order, just like any drama that you see is filmed out of order. They don't film it in the order that the script says, for the simple reason that if you've got 3 scenes at a certain location split throughout the hour, you film them all in one go. You don't come back to them when it's time to shoot that bit because that's just too expensive. Axel says, does it make any difference if the nodding is pre-recorded? It's a great question. Does it? I think the thinking is that, and certainly where the BBC is concerned, my understanding is that if you see me asking a question, you know that I've conducted the interview and you want to think I've conducted the interview. Often the nodding shots that you see, I say often, sometimes the nodding shots that you see are not me nodding to that actual answer, for the simple reason that I might not be nodding. I might be going, which is not checking my lottery tickets, but it's looking at the next question or that I might ask. And while you're watching the interviewee, I'm having the, taking the opportunity to look down at what the next question might be. So they might use me nodding from somewhere else in the interview. Am I giving too much away here? Probably am. So what else have we got? Yeah, I'm going to do an interview in just over an hour with Hozier, Andrew Hozier, who's a musician from Ireland. Take me to church. Do, 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 do. So we decided he's bluesy. Very bluesy is his style. Very cool. And we're doing a piece this week on the program about how musicians have adapted to lockdown, specifically whether virtual gigs are becoming a thing. So Hozier has taken part in the Together at Home concert, I think the one that Lady Gaga put together, and he's done a couple of other things, and he's doing some live stuff on his Instagram. And we're seeing a lot of performers. Some of them, I guess, just want to carry on performing, and this is the way they're going to do it. They're going to do it online. We're seeing some gigs taking place online. There are some gigs taking place in Minecraft, weirdly, and on Twitch. So we want to do a piece to ask what that experience is like for the audience and for the performer. And also, I think Brian May was on the coronavirus newscast on the Beeb last week saying he doesn't think bands will ever tour again, which I think is a bit extreme, to be honest. But there's a whole question over how an artist makes money these days, because it used to be that they could sell records and make money from that. But then I think downloads and streaming kind of took a lot of that revenue away from them. And so a lot of artists have moved away from making money from selling their records to having their records be a shop window to the experience of coming to a gig. So that's how most of their money comes, from merchandise and from selling tickets to gigs. And if they're now giving their gigs away for free online, does that change what they do? So I'm going to be talking to Hozier at 2:00. Please, can there be a collaboration between Rayleigh and Hozier? Do you hear that, Rayleigh? If you happen to be in the house, they're thinking that you should do a duet with Hozier. Not that I'm giving you notice in case there are any props that you can find. Do you think Hozier would understand Rayleigh? I think you had to be here from the beginning. Do you know? Do you remember there was a time when there was a penguin called Lockdown, and that was it? There was Lockdown the penguin behind me, and and then it kind of mushroomed from there, didn't it? Anyway, um, David says, I remember when Prince gave an album away with a newspaper. Yeah, I remember that. I also remember U2 gave away an album free to every iTunes user. It just was automatically downloaded to people's iTunes. And people were outraged. How dare YouTube give me, or how dare YouTube, how dare U2 give me free content that I didn't ask for and download it to my iTunes without my permission? Um, I never quite understood the outrage there. You know, it's free music. Yeah, it's massive publicity for the band, but so what? Just delete it. Why not? Um, yeah, did they annoy everyone though, or did they just annoy people who like didn't like you too? I don't know. It's a good point. Says CB76 KFC. That's got to be his real name, hasn't it? Because otherwise you wouldn't choose that ID. Brian, mate, the Badger would be better, surely. It's a good point. That's a good point. Um, yeah, David said loads of people complained and they had to send out a patch to remove the album again. I mean, seriously, I've got stuff on my music collection that I never listen to. If you don't want a U2 album, just don't listen to it. Used to be loads of CDs free in newspapers, mostly collections. Do you know that's how I heard about David Walliams' World's Worst Children, because of a free CD that my parents got in their newspaper, and the kids love it. And so I went and bought the actual one. U2 got voted the worst album ever, says Max. You know, that's fine. But you know, I'll record an album, and I think you'll agree it's worse than U2. I think it was. Here he is, wearing his leopards. That's more Rod Stewart than Bono, isn't it? With the leopard skin there and the blue Peter badge. How are you? All right? You want to help me do the interview with Hozier? No? Why not? Have you heard of Hozier? Yeah, he's maybe you a bit scared, bit shy, starstruck, bit shy. All right. Well, maybe you can watch this one, and then when we do Bono, and I grill him about forcing his music onto people, you can go and you can be my attack dog. You can be my paxman. Ah, there you go. How did the otter get the blue Peter badge? That is a great question. There we go. Not answering that question. This is one of our stars from the show this week. This is Neo the duck. If I place it down there, and thank you. There's Spots. So these were in the show this week. I've got to work out what to hide in the foreground this week, and that's a difficult one, isn't it? There we go. These, by the way, are from a shop in Barcelona, which sells nothing but rubber ducks. All right. So if you're ever in Barcelona, which no one's going to be for a long time unless you already live there, there is a rubber duck shop where you can buy Bowie ducks and matrix ducks and all sorts of ducks. Like literally, there's anything there. An otter, a duck, and a TV presenter eventually walk into a bar. Says David. No, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen for weeks. Hey, Rayleigh, let me ask you whether you think that anything's changed since the Prime Minister announced the whatever changes they were to lockdown. Do you think anything's changed? I'm not sure. We're going to still be making the program from home for the foreseeable, I think. And there's been all sorts. I know there's lots of confusion over what the journalists have been briefed versus what was actually said in the speech and what's going to be announced in Parliament today and what might happen on Wednesday and whether we can go and buy our fuchsias from Garden Centre. Aha! Oh, do I need to open this? You'd think we planned this until you realise how utterly unfunny they are. Do you want to explain? Would you like it? Okay, good. So I just got a strawberry in a plastic egg. I don't know why. Maybe we'll see the relevance when everyone else knows what is that Is that no? It's just a thing, isn't it? Is it just a thing? No, it's not just a thing. Is it? If only you could talk. Oh, what? What? It's a secret, is it? Right. Okay. That works really well. Okay. I'm not going to understand that, am I? Let me say GSWD 1693. Obviously, their real name as well. Will carry on as before. Leave the idiots to infect each other. Northwest is now top of the pile. I haven't asked where you are at the moment. Hozier is from just up the road from Giza in Newtown, Mount Kennedy, which it looks like you've forgotten the space bar in that Newtown, Mount Kennedy. I mean, it's a real place, obviously, but it's one of those names that seems to be made up of three different place names. In County Wicklow, you can ask him if it's real. Okay, I will. I'll ask whether Newtown, Mount Kennedy is real. Anything else I should ask? What? Oh, hang on. GSWD 1693 is Lisa. Now, Lisa is one of the first people that watched this nonsense on Twitter, and I saw Lisa. You said you couldn't interact on YouTube, and it was driving you nuts. Well, you've obviously found a way. So, congratulations. Ashley's in Somerset. David's in the northwest. Lisa is in Newton Le Willows. Newton Le Willows. Where's that? I don't know where that is. And Axel is saying, I'm still trying to work out the maths behind the R equals Muckhammer equation in the broadcast last night. What? I don't know what that means. Yeah, keep your phone in portrait. Oh, I see. So just to say, this is not making much sense, I know, but I'm still new to the YouTube live experience. So I don't know whether this is better than Twitter and also how you interact and where the text is coming up. It's coming up there for me. David says it's near Windy Le Willows. Aha, there we go. And Heather's in New Malden. One of our old camera operators used to be in New Malden. You have to have a YouTube channel to comment. Is that right? Right, now I'm being given a lemon, which I could take as an insult. But when life gives you lemons, yeah, you make lemonade. Okay, is this a clue to why I got the strawberry before? Okay, so when life gives you strawberries in an egg, you make strawberry jam. Right. Is anyone understanding this? What, you want me to hide fruit in the show? I see. Really? Did I hide fruit in the show? Okay. I'll think about it. The problem is, if I put a strawberry there and then I lean back, I'm going to get proper strawberry jam, aren't I? Fruit Loop. Camera operator name, Mike Connolly. Michael Connolly was the guy in lives near New Malden. Excuse me. So anyway, we've done half an hour. I'm still struggling with this YouTube format. I have to say, it feels more formal than Twitter. And I'm finding it difficult to relax and remember what I'm talking about and stuff like that and stay focused. So I'm not sure. I'm going to give it a couple more goes because technically it's better. But can we talk about devs yet? Says Chris. I so want to talk about devs. I so want to talk about devs. Maybe we'll do it. Who's seen devs? Let me know. We like devs here, don't we? Yeah, we liked it. Did it blow your mind? Love devs. Yeah, let's talk about it. Maybe next week. We'll give people another week. There's only about 8 episodes, so by now you should have watched it several times over because what else is there to do? Watch devs. Not yet. Get on with it, Lisa. Get on with it. You're up to episode 4, Kevin. Episode 5, though. That's when the Martians come down, and then it's like, oh, joking. Seen Dev's weird statue. Yeah, absolutely. And you watched all of Normal People over the weekend. We haven't got onto that yet, have we? We watched Ghosts. Did I tell you about Ghosts the other day? That's a good sitcom. I actually only discovered it recently, but it was aired last year. Sitcom about some ghosts in a haunted house, and a new couple move in and want to turn it into a hotel. and the ghosts don't want them to turn it into a hotel, so they're doing everything they can to stop them. It's quite funny. And we looked up the people who made up the cast, and it's the old Horrible Histories gang. So they're all playing ghosts from various points in history. There's a World War One captain there. There's a caveman. There's various Victorian, Edwardian ladies, each of whom has their own sensibilities. There's a Cub Scout Arcala with an arrow through his neck, so no questions about how he died. Watching some very old Whose Line Is Anyway on the All Four app. Oh, wow, because we've got a Whose Line Is It Anyway friend, haven't we? Richard Branch. Richard Branch on the piano. I met him about 2019, about 1,000 years ago. I saw him at the Cosmic Shambles events, 9 Lessons for Curious People, 9 Lessons and Carols for Curious People, which I took part in, which is a series of shows full of scientists and comedians who kind of just were trying to raise money for charity, and we give the little talks to the audience and stuff. And Richard Branch was there, and I went up to him and said, "Oh, hi, you know, I like you, I remember you." And he turned around and said, "Oh, hi, you're the guy from Click," and we kind of hit it off. And we went to the pub afterwards. I think we did anyway. Can't really remember. Um, did we establish what your Blue Peter badge was for? We got talk of Blue Peter badge. No, we didn't. I was awarded a Blue Peter badge for sending in a drawing. I still have the letter from Biddy Baxter. Um, not Richard Stilgo. No, Richard Branch on the piano. What speed is your internet connection? Says Andrew Jackson. I have no idea. It's not very fast, and that's the problem. All right, I tell you what, I'm going to go now because I've got to get ready for the Hozier interview. I can't play music on this either because I'm terrified that YouTube will just like because of the copyright. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that might be one of the reasons I might go back to Twitter. I don't know because we like ending on some music. But for now, thank you very much. Wish me luck on the Hozier interview. If there's anything you would like me to ask him about the future of touring and music, send me a note on Twitter. Okay, because I'm going to do them at 2 o'clock, and I'm using my new lighting setup. Shall I turn the camera around and show people my new lighting setup? That might be a bad idea. Yeah, you move out of the way, Otter, just in case you're in the shot. So I'm changing the lighting around. So I've got my main light here now, because I was worried, or I was annoyed by the fact I had hard shadows on the back, and so I've moved the main light to there. And also, I'm going to I'm going to show them now the other light, which is around there. You see, so and then I got a window there, which is the main light. So I'm going to try this new lighting setup. I'm going to switch the light on. I'm going to get some smart clothes on and stuff. Who needs the luck when has talent? Yes, well, thank you very much. But wish me luck anyway. And I'll let you know how it goes. I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be here on Wednesday and Thursday this week. And when I say here, I might mean YouTube. I might mean Twitter or Periscope. Almost certainly not Facebook Live. But anyway, thank you very much for practice my earnest nodding. I will. Thank you very much for being there. I hope this has been in some small way a light part of your day. See you soon. Bye.